Greetings, I'm DC Terry with Mr. Mortgage. Here we are, it's March the 1st, coming off of a great month. February was a great month for Mr. Mortgage. Got our closings done. We had one that was we squeezed it in at the last minute. It was a closing that we really weren't sure that was going to make it. And things just started to just come out of nowhere. And we ended up having to get the VP of a lender involved, a regional VP, to get that loan through the pipe and get it closed. We ended up closing, doing a same day closing, clear to close, and got the thing funded and all of that. And it was one other one that no issues. It's moving along pretty good. And the one that we knew was going to be smooth, we're closing it tomorrow. And it was supposed to close one yesterday. So we have those times where things happen and you can't explain it. And I'm going to just kind of use that to build on, because every once in a while in the industry, it doesn't matter who the lender is, you have those closings that run through smooth. Then you have those ones that just something happens, you can't explain it, you can't put your finger on it. You can't just say, you know what, if you'd gotten this into me sooner, this would have happened. You have that to where the client does everything right, you do everything right, and you just hit a point to where it gets in that system. And this time we went through what we call a bottleneck. And that's where you're at the end of the month, everything just kind of hits and you're sitting there waiting for your file to come through. You know, it reminded me of some years ago when we purchased a home. It was a fixer-upper. We purchased that home for over $100,000 less than the person that had that home before us had purchased it for. And so to me, being in the industry, it was just a perfect match. The lender that we used was the same lender that actually had the property, had possession of the property. So this has to be smooth. You can't get any better than this. And we're going through the process, and though we can't work on our own loans in the industry, I was monitoring it very well. I knew the person that had it. I made sure everything was in there, all of the I's dotted, all of the T's crossed, and never forget your little J's. Someone taught me that early on in the industry. Those were dotted as well. So we get to the point that we're ready to close, and right at the end, all of a sudden we're jumping through hoops, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why certain things are happening. It's out of my control, and I'm a control freak. And so it was really irritating me. And so we get to the closing table, we finally get to the closing table, and I'm there, and I'm rather, just a little haughty, I'm signing the documents, and, we're glad to be there, but then at the same time, I'm thinking, it's about time we get here, and this, that, and the other, and then we sign the documents, we're sitting there waiting, and I'm stepping around to see what's going on, and the attorney tells me, well, we have a problem with the lender. They're not signing the document, so this closing is not going to be settled today. Just so you understand what that means is, that meant that we did our part, but we weren't getting the keys to the home that we're supposed to purchase on that day. And they were telling me, DC, it's closed, don't worry about it, it's a done deal, we're just going through this process. And I am, I'm about fuming now at this point, because I'm saying, okay, what is the problem here? We did everything that we're supposed to do, and now we're having a problem with this. Somebody's got to explain this to me. No one can explain to me what's going on, because there's someone way off someplace else, sitting at some desk. No one knows who they are. We can't get in touch with them, and we're having to wait on them. And that was something for me, because I was used to being able to get everything done. So long story short, it takes us about a week before we get the keys. We finally get the keys, but there's something that happened in between that closing day and the day that we got the keys to the property. What happened is that I called the realtor and I said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. And they're going to, we've done everything that we're supposed to do. And at the last minute, this happened and that happened and this happened and this happened. And started going down my line of everything that happened and all the things that I did to make sure that this didn't happen. And if they don't get me these keys within the next few days, I'm going to give them this amount of time. If they don't have that, we are walking. And the realtor is saying, DC, it's out of our control. Just calm down. And it's going to happen. The home is yours. It's yours. So all you have to do is just wait for the keys. And I'm saying, but we could be sitting around waiting for a month or 2 months or 3 months because they're not giving me any answers. I don't know what's going on. And here is the thing. This realtor though I was in the industry, I was still fairly new. And this realtor, she was used to it because she dealt with a lot of foreclosures. She had a lot of closings going on. So this was nothing that was new to her. But for me, it was a big deal. And it took some time for me to even get to the point, and some of you may be able to appreciate this, some may not, but I just have to tell you the truth. One day I'm sitting there and I'm not gonna say something told me, God actually began to just speak to me, speak to my heart. And one day that had nothing to do with this closing whatsoever. And you know those times to where it's okay to speak to you about things because you're open and you'll hear it. I was at that moment, and just in a moment, and he began to just reveal something to me, that you were ridiculous. Here you were sitting at a closing table, purchasing a home for over $100,000 less than the other person purchased it for. A home that was off the market. You had bid it on another home. You bid it more money than they were asking for, and you lost the bid on that property. Told the realtor, keep the $1,000 check. We're still going to purchase a home and close in the same amount of time. Go back on the MLS, find this home that comes up out of nowhere. You don't have a picture available. It says no photo available. I tell you that that's the home. The realtor is shocked that you said to send in a contract on a home that there's no photo available. You get the home, and then you get to the closing table, and you're prideful. You're pompous. You act as if you're doing everyone else a favor by sitting there and enduring all the things that you had to endure for your dream to come true. That thing, it's kind of like one of those slow punches that just comes and it looks slow and easy, and all of a sudden it connects and it's like, pow! That's what happened to me. Because I woke up at that moment and I realized something. Me doing this, I've been doing this over 16 years now, and I see sometimes clients or hear their stories of how, this was terrible and that was terrible. And I see realtors that get upset and they blow things out of proportion, and they forget that you're at the closing table, and in this moment, someone's dream is coming true. In this moment, it could even be your dream that's coming true. This is definitely not the time that you want to be negative. If there's any time in your life that you want to be thankful, you want to be grateful, it's in that moment to where your dream is coming true. And this is what we do here at Mr. Mortgage. We help people who have been told, it's not just the easy clients that they can come through. Like we just had a client who came through and we submitted her loan on Friday, and on Tuesday it was out of underwriting with only 7 conditions. 2 of those were for the attorney, 2 were for the appraisal, 1 was for the realtors to take care of, and she had 1, which is a verification of employment. We wish it was always that easy, but no, we have those clients that come in that they've been turned down someplace else, and you look at their file. To me, it's like, okay, this is an easy loan, but I still know that there's some things that we're going to do, probably some hoops we're going to have to jump through. And you get sometimes those clients, and they get to the closing table, and they're like, my God, I'm so glad to be here, which you are, but are you really glad? Are you really grateful? Are you really grateful to be there? I know this is a rather long video, but just kind of work with me. I learned something in that time, that in that moment, you should never let anybody steal that moment of greatness from you. You should never let anyone infiltrate your mind with any negativity when you're coming down to that moment to where your dream is about to come true for you and your family, and just your life is changing. And this, when you're getting ready to sign this document, this is sealing it for the next season of your life that, and I don't know how long it's going to be, but this is going to be the home that you're going to be in, the home that you saw yourself in, the home that you saw your family walking around in, the home that I told my son that, listen, when we get in this house, we're not wearing shirts at all. We're just walking around this way, and because you're going to have this and we're going to have that. And I was in that moment, and I lost that moment. When I say I lost that moment, I didn't enjoy the fullness of it because I allowed some negativity to seep in. It can happen to the best of us. And maybe this video would be an encouragement or just kind of a little snatch back or something just to let you know that realtors and clients, that if you've ever experienced that, or if you hear someone else and they're going through something, share my experience. Use our story. Use my mistake to help someone else, if it's not yourself, to say, listen, look at what's about to happen. Embrace it. Yes, you had to go through something to get there. But to whom much is given, much is required. Sometimes you'll have to go through a thing or two just to make a dream come true. And when that dream comes true, is it not worth it? So sit back, relax, smile, be grateful, and say thank you. Say thank you. Why? Because there are a team of individuals. They get paid to make it happen, but they really get paid to make dreams come true. And that, for us here at Mr. Mortgage, that's what's valuable. That's what's really valuable. I'm DC Terry with Mr. Mortgage. Thank you for spending time with me. I look forward to hearing from you if we can help you. If not, take this story, use it to help someone else. God bless.